Amen. Shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. First and foremost, I'd like to start this video by giving all praises, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Recha Kodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well and taught us this 100% truth. Salutations unto the 144,000, doing the work of the Lord in all truth, honor, and sincerity, and shalom to the 1/3. Men, women, and children who believe in His word being taught unto them. It's your brother, I am Nawa'Allah. I'm back at you with another video entitled Never Trust Thine Enemy. Alright, and we told you guys, man, you know, beginning with our elder apostles, man, we done told you how this devil gets down. Alright, and you know, you gotta take cigarettes for an example. You know, cigarettes were, about way before my time. But from what I know, when cigarettes first touched the scene, it was seen as a good thing, a healthy thing. Everyone was doing it. Even your doctors were doing it. All right. You was able to smoke in all these places like cafes and bars and all the places you're prohibited to smoke now. You was able to smoke in those places back then. And then after some time, then all of a sudden they've got some research and they found out that just how harmful smoking really is. Okay, so it's the same thing with many other things when you're dealing with Esau Edom. And however, in this instance, it appears to be the Crown Vic juice. Okay, which beginning with our elder apostles of GMS, our stance was very much don't take it. I believe IUIC had 22 of the members of their congregation take the thing, and they died. Okay, so let's read this article, man. It says, and this came out today, July 2nd, 2025. Hopeful year of our deliverance and destruction of Esau Edom. It says, official study confirms long Crown Vic is a chronic juice injury. All right, because I remember in 2020, back then I was actually working in the healthcare system, and I was demonized because I stood stiffly on the stance of this thing is bullshit, and I'm not taking it, kind of thing. But then there was all painting the picture of but you're selfish and think about the old people and everyone else that you're affecting. I ain't affected, man. 2 of my female colleagues, ever since they took the thing, had their menstrual cycles all fucked up. Other people were reporting of heart palpitations. Let me not even get all into it because you know how he gets down. But I mean, the reason why I'm saying all of that is because then this new term came about, the long C, the long CV, right? Which is like, oh, okay, yeah, so you can get that now. But really now, what's coming to the surface is that what has been known as long C really was negative effects the bodies have been having after taking the juice. All right. So it says a peer-reviewed study confirms that long C symptoms in juiced individuals never infected with the C are chronic. This is going to be a hard thing to read, Are chronic juice injuries, raising alarming questions about the juice's role as the true cause. All right. Damn, I even have to wrap my head around it because I'm speaking in code, But we had that stance of the juice really being the cause behind a lot of these health problems that people were experiencing, man. Like all of a sudden there was a trend of I forget exactly how they worded it. Something to do with sudden death. You had various sports people just collapsing on the pitch and all of them things there. I'm going to try not to say too much and say a lot at the same time, because I got to be careful. But why would these things take place after the juice if the juice is meant to help people? Something ain't adding up. Something don't make sense. All right. So it says the study reveals that neurological and psychiatric symptoms previously attributed to long C, a chronic condition following, infection, are appearing in induced people without prior infection. There you have it. This challenges the narrative that the virus alone causes these symptoms, pointing to the juice as a potential underlying factor. You see that? Let's bring this up real quick. You know what? Let me get in another 1 minute. Let me get in this one. What's going on here? That's an absolute joke, man. 1 minute. What's going on? Wow. Always some kind of hindrance, isn't it, man? Satan's just mad. Satan's just mad. But alright, whatever. No sweat. No biggie. Psalm 64. And let us go down to 8. It says, so shall they make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. And that's what we see happening with this article, man. Their own tongues are falling upon themselves. Because let's be honest, man. Chances are it weren't no Jake that wrote this article, man. Jake is too busy worrying about when the new Jordans are coming up. Or something, got his head up Eve's arse or whatever the case may be, man. Jake ain't worried about none of this stuff. Jake, he all he cares about is running up that bag and, he couldn't give it, as long as it's not touching his quarters, man, he's not too concerned, man. All right, so they're making their own tongues to fall upon themselves because you've got other Edomites who are against what the upper elites of the Edomites are doing. And as the scriptures say, a nation divided cannot stand. So what we're seeing, or rather what we're witnessing, is the downfall of our enemies, man. All right, there was a point in time where Esau, Edom, his superpower was secrecy. The reason why E could go about doing what he was doing is because the people didn't know what he was doing. But now we're in a time where he can no longer hide himself. Okay? And that's why these things are coming out. And also it's written, because everything is prophecy. Real quick. 2 Thessalonians 2 and verse 8 says, and then shall that wicked be revealed. Who is that wicked? Esau, Edom. Alright, he is the one being revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. So what's the spirit of the Lord's mouth? His men, the elect. Alright, the ones that have this 100% truth. The ones where no guile was found in their mouths. Alright? We're the ones that are revealing the wicked Okay? And then we also read in Psalm 64 and 8 how their own tongues shall fall upon themselves. Because you've got other Edomites who are coming out with the shit, man. And guess what? We listening to those other Edomites coming out with the shit and we bringing it out. You know? So this is just a shit show for these devils, really and truly. When you weigh things out. You know? So it says, let's see this. Modernity News reports, but the new study shows that this chronic condition occurs in those who were never infected, but who were juiced. So, how does that work then? So now the question is, bear with me a minute. So the question is, if this juice was meant to protect people from these alleged symptoms and whatnot, then how is it that people who have never had the juice are not getting these alleged symptoms, but people who have got the juice are getting these symptoms, man? So, if you had like any working brain cells in your head, alarm bells would be going off. And you'd be thinking, yeah, this is a bit fishy. Something's not right here. But what what we've come to realize is that there's not a lot of people, with functional brains in their heads, man. It's just how it goes, bro. Not everyone is all the way there. But, this truth has gone out anyway, so as it says in John, there's no cloak for their sins. This is 2 Timothy 4:1. I charge thee therefore before the Most High and the Lord Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, who shall judge the quick and the dead at his appearing and his kingdom. So the Lord don't care whether you walk up to this or not. He's coming to judge the quick, which the quick are the elect. Isaiah 11:2. I'll make thee of quick understanding. And then the dead are the those without the understanding, as it says here in Proverbs 21:16. It tells us, the man that wandereth out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead. Point blank period. All right. So you're not operating in the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of this truth. Guess what? You in the congregation of the dead. All right. Published June 23rd of 25 in the Journal of Microbiology, Immunology and Infection. The study evaluated 467 healthcare workers from a teaching hospital in northern Taiwan. Of the 467 individuals, 222 had no record of positive juice infection. Every participant had received at least 3 doses of the juice. Notably, all participants in this study were healthcare professionals who had received a minimum of 3 doses, the triple combo, right, of the juice, with some even having 4 doses. Yeah, some people really took it there. Before the onset of the O variant outbreak in Taiwan, the study reads, yet a large number experienced long C-like symptoms, even among those with no history of C infection. Look at that. The alarming findings come as the U.S. National Institutes of Health, the NIH with an E, has funded research to create more than 200 synthetic versions of what's described as the so like I want to say something, man. Let me not say that. Using lab-based, just if you ain't watching the video and you're listening, just look on the screen now, right? Just this word right here. All right, for those that may be listening and not actually watching the video, that's what I'm not saying. using lab-based genetic engineering to construct novel entities not found in nature, raising future pandemic worries. The findings also come as a recent publication of JMA journal found a significant increase in excess deaths after repeated juice shots in Japan. Look at that. Long C without infection. In the new study, participants were divided into 3 groups. Symptomatic C19 confirmed by medical record or self-report. Asymptomatic C19, antibody positive but never experienced symptoms. No history of C19, no symptoms, no diagnosis, and no negative for the you-know-what, nucleoprotein antibodies. Significantly, the study found no significant differences in the severity of most neurological and psychiatric symptoms across the groups, including those who had never had C19. Despite meticulous data collection, the study revealed no statistically significant differences in the severity of neurological and psychiatric long C symptoms across the C19 status groups, the authors wrote. In other words, individuals who were never infected but who were juiced still developed the same long C symptoms, meaning the juice themselves may be the common factor. Yet despite this glaring pattern, the authors never once considered that the juice could be responsible. Come on, bro. They know. They're not dumb. They just don't want you to know, and they just hope that what they're doing is they're gaslighting the people, man. That's the best way to put it. They're gaslighting you, or you know, those outside of this truth that believe in the government, and you know, they're so nice and whatever. Is in order they attempt to investigate or rule out juice as a potential cause of the symptoms. No, even though everything points that, no, it's just not it. But it's just not it. You know? Symptoms include memory loss, fatigue, and cognitive dysfunction. Which, man, that's true. All right, let's read on a bit. Hold on, and then I'm gonna say something. It says the so-called long C symptoms experienced by the never infected included memory decline, trouble concentrating, sleep disturbances, anxiety, depression, fatigue, cognitive dysfunction, man. Because, like, think about the roads, man. I remember being a child and, like, you would hardly ever see a damaged car, crashed car. Now, you see the whole accident yourself, man. You know, cars all mangled and damaged, and it's just normal. But what changed in, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years? What's changed? All right, the food. All right, it's poison. That's why you got the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration. But food and drugs, where's the correlation? Because the food are drugs. All right, it alters your body, it alters the mind. It changes things. Okay, and that's what drugs do. These are the same symptoms widely attributed to long C, but they appeared regardless of infection status. Even the uninfected group with no detectable anti-nucleoprotein antibodies reported mild fatigue in over 30 of cases and trouble concentrating in nearly 10%. Memory problems worsened most in symptomatic group, but still present in the uninfected. So I ain't gonna read that, man. But let's see this. It's a rebranding of the juice history. All 467 healthcare workers in the study received at least 3 juice shots. Triple combo, right? Most of them took mix and match combinations that included, I ain't gonna say the names. Again, if you're not watching the video, just, look at it now, and I'm just highlighting the names that I'm not saying. As well as viral vector juices like AZ and subunit juices like M. The study's own data show that people with low exposure to the juice or to the actual said virus are still developing cognitive, psychiatric, and neurological symptoms that mirror long C. So meaning that really the trouble was in the taking the C. All right. Just like, the trouble is gonna be if you take the MOTB. Okay. So the implications is that these symptoms may not be long C at all. They may be long post-juice symptoms. There you have it. The distinction has massive implications for public health policy. If the symptoms attributed to long C are appearing in individuals with no history of infection, the juice could be the culprit. And there you have it, man. This is why our elder apostles, man, their stance was firm, man, on not taking it. If you gotta lose your job, hey, you'll fuck it, man. The Most High give you another one. End of the day, this is all a trial of our faith. We must always remember that. This is a trial of our faith, brothers. So we gonna go through some shit, but we just gotta believe. All right. Sirach 12:10. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. You can never trust Esau. All right. When you come into this Hebrew Israelite ministry, it gets revealed unto you who your enemies are. All right. If you don't know, still read Psalms 83. There we have a list of all of our enemies. But our main number one enemy is Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. Okay, so the scriptures is telling us, is advising us to never trust our enemies. Never trust our enemies. Because as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Meaning that eventually Esau, Edom's wickedness is going to come to the surface. No matter which way you slice it. No matter how much you try and convince yourself he's a changed man. And all of that wickedness was just a thing of the past. And now he's civil and he's... No. Alright, a leopard never changes their spots, man. Alright, it says in verse 11, though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou had wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that its rust have not been altogether wiped away. So you gonna learn one way or the other that this is still the same old devil. He ain't changed one bit, man. So it's like, if you couldn't trust him back then, you can't trust him now. Okay? 12 says, set him not by thee, lest when he have overthrown thee, he shall stand up in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat. And thou at the last remember my words and be pricked therewith. And you got guys that were actually pricked with this man's juice, and then they're getting ready to be pricked with his C-hip. That's crazy. But the scriptures is making it clear, don't trust him, man. That's why the next verse says, who will pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent, or any such as come nigh wild beasts? Alright? So one that goeth to a sinner and is defiled with him in his sins, who will pity? So we ain't going for sorry for you, man, because the truth is out there. Time to repent. True message is there. If you don't want to get on board with it, then so be it. Okay? But as for us, we ain't trusting Esau, man. Never. Okay? Too many examples why we shouldn't, man. Too many. Alright, and so these scriptures, they put you on game, man. 2 Corinthians 2:11. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. So he can't pull the wool over our eyes because we've been given the eye salve, man. Okay. Revelation 3:18. I counsel thee to buy of me gold tried in the fire, that thou mayest be rich, and white raiment, that thou mayest be clothed, and that the shame of thy nakedness do not appear, and anoint thine eyes with eye salve, that thou mayest see. And we see everything clearly, man. We see the prophecies jumping off the pages. Okay? And that's a blessing unto us. Okay? Because we could be like these ninjas in the world, and not a clue what's going on out here, man. Just wandering the streets lost. All right. That's why Isaiah 24. Let's get that real quick. And 10. It says, the city of confusion is broken down. Every house is shut up that no man may come in. All right. And everyone's hitting that state of confusion. What's real? What's fake? What's true? What's not? What's good? What's bad? What makes sense? What doesn't? All right. It says, there's a crying for wine in the streets. All joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone. All right. All that partying and bullshit spirit, that's gone. Now, shit's getting serious out here, man. You got people who got the juice in them that are fucked up now, knowing full well it was the juice, but because of pride, they won't admit it to people. But deep down in their hearts, they know. They know, man. But just like there's a reward for trusting in the Lord, there's also a reward for not trusting in the Lord. Revelation, what's that, 22? Jeremiah 17:5. Thus saith the Lord, cursed be the man that trusteth in man, and maketh flesh his arm, and whose heart depart from the Lord. So you don't want to trust in Yahweh Hashem Yahshai. You want to trust in man. Well, you're gonna see what the end of you is gonna be, and it's not gonna be great. To be quite frank, it's not gonna be very great, mate. But Jake be hard headed as hell, man. Baruch 2:30. Jake be hard headed as hell. Jake like to wait for things to happen, and then that's when they get moving, man. No, man. Scriptures say in Ecclesiastes 12 to remember that I created in the days of thy youth while the evil days come not. But we ain't trusting in no Esau Edom, man. All right. We done seen the results of that. We done seen where it led us, and we ain't going back, man. All right. And we're gonna be operating in a completely different spirit out here, man. The people gonna realize, nah, man, these guys are different. Like, yo, 2 Esdras 2:27 says, be not weary, for when the day of trouble and heaviness cometh, others shall weep and be sorrowful, but thou shalt be merry and have abundance. So when that day of trouble comes, man, we're gonna be alright, man. We're gonna be merry, we're gonna have abundance, but everyone's gonna be in trouble, gonna be heavy, weeping, sorrowful. 28 says, the heathen shall envy thee, but they shall be able to do nothing against thee, saith the Lord. He says, my hand shall cover thee, so that thy children shall not see hell. So we're gonna be protected, man. We're gonna be alright, man. That's the main thing. Okay? And the rest is we just gotta trust in Yahweh Hashem Yahshai. Psalms 34:7 says, the angel of the Lord encampeth around them that fear him. We fear the Lord not. So that angel encamping around us. Alright? We ain't got to fear what man can do to us. That's not what was commanded. Fear what a man, a heathen, furthermore, fear what they can do to you. What? Allow it. Psalms 118:6. The Lord is on my side. I will not fear. What can man do unto me? The Lord taketh my part with them. The Lord taketh my part with them that help me. Therefore shall I see my desire upon them that hate me. And that's what we're going to see. It is better to put trust in the Lord than to put confidence in man. So this is where a lot of man went wrong in 2020. They, trusted in the Lord, but they didn't trust in man. So other way around. They trusted in man, but they didn't trust in the Lord, man. Okay? And that's why these people are all fucked up. Bearing the consequence of their action, because they wanted to take matters into their own hands and trust in thinking he a changed man. Alright. Verse 9, it is better to put trust in the Lord than to put confidence in princes. Confidence in princes, man. All right, so, I remember that time, 2020, people were in here in the UK, certain people, man, certain family members were basically worshipping Boris Johnson, man. And all you have to do is sit there, To be honest with you, I forgot where I was going with that point, man. I'm tired, but Salakia, it's better to trust in Yahweh Bashim Yahshai, man. Because these men, these so-called politicians, they got the shadow government that really run things. So it's like, you just getting all the way fucked over, man. But yeah, we done told you about these devils, man. Beginning with our elder apostles, getting the juice was a bad idea, and now Esau's skirt's being lifted and these things are being revealed, man. So yeah, man, I'm gonna wrap it up for this video. I pray, Lord willing, it's been edifying. Until next time, I say shalom.